everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I have my tea, I have my journals, and we're just gonna sit, relax, and chat about some of the journals that I'm gonna be using for the new year and my journal lineup for 2022. I love seeing what journals other people use at the beginning of the year and how they kind of organize their life into a series of little paper books. So I hope you enjoy seeing all the notebooks that I'm using. I have quite a few notebooks here, and technically not all of these are necessary for my life, but I love stationery. It's kind of one of my passions and my hobbies, so I tend to like to go a little bit extra on things. So just keep that in mind while I'm showing you my notebooks. Let's get into the journals, and I'm gonna pull out these two first because these two are the journals that I use every single day. And then these three over here are the not so much every single day, maybe once a week kind of vibe. I'm gonna start out with the one you guys have probably heard of and probably seen a couple times. This is my bullet journal. This notebook is by the brand Stalogy, and I actually have 3 Stalogy notebooks in total, but specifically this one is their A5 Editor Series full year notebook in dot grid. So pretty much all that means is that this notebook, as you can see, is kind of, it's actually not too chunky, but it has 368 pages, so enough for 1 page a day for the entire year. And it has a really light dot grid, which is honestly the main reason I picked this up and decided to use it as my bullet journal, because I love low contrast dots that aren't distracting. And as you can tell by my very creative labeling here, this is my bullet journal. So I have a full video already showing you guys my setup, as well as how I set up my January pages. This is my vision board because I love doing monthly vision boards in my journal. But if I had to describe this notebook, it's essentially a physical manifestation of my brain, and I consider this a combination between a productivity and a mindfulness tool. So yeah, that is my bullet journal, which is the first notebook I use every day. The second notebook I use every day is this little guy. So this guy is an A6 Stalogy. This is the editor series in the grid. So unlike my bullet journal, as you can see, this notebook has grid pages. It doesn't have dot pages. So the paper color and everything is the same. It's just that the bottom notebook you see here is dot grid and the top one is grid. So the inside pages are a little different, and if they sold this notebook in dot grid, I'd probably get it, but they only have dot grid in the A5 size right now, so that's why this is the regular grid. And this notebook is my personal daily journal. I actually wasn't planning on having a personal journal at the beginning of the year, but as the end of 2021 kind of came to a close and I was finishing up my 1 line a day pages, which I recorded in my last bullet journal, I realized that for 2022 I wanted a little more room to record my daily thoughts. So that is what I keep in this notebook. I also thought really this type of like to just fill this guy up, keeping, I guess. I will be making a kind of nice video with my setup, and it's kind of nice to have a separate guy, and so you guys can see a full overview of how I'm doing daily journaling. But I hope that gave you a little bit of a sneak preview until then. All right, tea break before we move on. So those notebooks that I just talked to you guys through, my daily journal and my bullet journal, those are notebooks I use every day. And I think I forgot to mention, but this guy I use every morning. So yeah, once a day for this one, 2 to 3 times a day for this one. But these ones over here, these 3 notebooks, I don't tend to use every single day. This one I probably use, it honestly depends, maybe once a week. This one's probably the same, and then this one's maybe a couple times a week. So not as oftenly used, but still really great notebooks that I enjoy using. And the first one that I'm showing you guys here is the 5-minute journal. This is a daily journal by the brand Intelligent Change, and it's a pre-made journal, which means that on the inside here you can see that each day has journaling prompts written out for you to fill out either in the morning, which is this white section, or the evening, which is the gray section down here. I've done daily journaling and kind of reflective journaling in the past, just in a blank notebook, and I would just pour out my thoughts in the morning pages style of writing, and I found that was good and I enjoyed that, but going into the end of the year, I just kind of wanted a bit more structure, and I wanted just something that was kind of already laid out for me, and I could just sit down in the morning and just kind of have a more streamlined experience, I guess. So this is what the 5-minute journal looks like, and I just got this in the green color. Isn't it pretty? Oh, I really love this color. It's really beautiful and it's cloth, so really great journal. And I've previously filled out an entire journal like this before, so that's part of why I got another one, because I finished my last one. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of use this during the year, and hopefully I can maybe do this every day, but I don't really want to put any pressure on myself, so I'm just gonna get around to using this when I want to, because for me, using my bullet journal and my daily journal are more of a priority than doing this. So this is just when I have a little extra time and I really want to get introspective. The next journal I have is my standard traveler's notebook in camel size. And this notebook is where I keep all of my quotations and phrases and other inspirational phrases and stuff that I want to remember. So traveler's notebooks allow you to store more than one little baby notebook insert that looks like this in them, but I personally only keep one in just because I only need really one, and this is a dot grid insert, and I just keep this really simple and write down any quotes that I come across in movies, TV shows, or even on Instagram that I find really inspiring and I don't want to forget. So yeah, really simple. I might change this up and just add a quotes page in my bullet journal, and then I wouldn't be using this for that purpose, but I don't know, guys. I'm still thinking about it. I'm not really sure, but for now, that is what I use this journal for. All right, so this is my last journal in the entire pile, and this guy is my third and last Stalogy journal. And this is a half-year editor series notebook, which in the Stalogy brand pretty much just means that this notebook has half the amount of pages as one of their full year notebooks. So these ones have 368 and these ones have, I think, 192, I believe. And for this notebook, I just wanted something thinner because I didn't think I would need 368 pages. So it's kind of cool that Stalogy offers that, and you do get the option to have a bit of a thicker notebook with more pages or a thinner notebook with less pages, but this notebook is smaller, and this guy is my reading journal. This notebook is new this year. I originally bought this because I wanted to test out the Stalogy dot grid, and I immediately fell in love because I love a beautiful low contrast dot grid moment. And I had this notebook and I thought, what better use for it than to record my notes on the Silmarillion, which is the book that I was reading at the time. So I kind of started recording my book notes in here. Normally I would write notes like this for nonfiction books, but for the Silmarillion, which is kind of a prequel book to Lord of the Rings, if you guys are familiar with that series, it had a lot of really intense mythology and names and a lot of different gods and elves and all kinds of stuff, and I really wanted to write all of that stuff down so that I didn't forget it all after finishing the book and essentially have to reread it. So I wrote all my notes in here, and that kind of kicked off this journal, and after that I decided that I would include all kinds of notes on all kinds of books that I've been reading. I plan to use kind of this style of notes for nonfiction books or really any book I want to make notes on. But for fiction books, which I don't really like to make notes on, I just made a page that says 2022 fiction. And so I'll be recording all of my 2022 fiction reads here, and I'll be noting down how I liked them through a star review. So far I've read 2 books in 2022 that were fiction, A Wrinkle in Time and Untamed. And I gave both of those 3 stars out of 5, so you can just see the star rating here on the left, and then I wrote the name on the right. So I really only have those pages filled out. The rest of the journal is blank, except for this pen swatch page, because I like to include these in most of my notebooks, just to make sure that I'm not using a pen that's gonna bleed everywhere. But I'm just gonna keep filling this out with books I've read, and I might flip through this one later in the year if it gets really nice and full, so you guys can see all the kind of notes and stuff that went down in here. So yeah, that actually is the final notebook. We had the reading journal, the 5-minute journal, the daily journal, the bullet journal, and my journal with my quotes. So yeah, these are all the notebooks that I plan to use for 2022, or at least that's the plan now. We will see what happens, but I'm really excited to use all of these and write in them and see how they kind of grow throughout the year. And let me know below what you guys are using for your journals in 2022, because I always love hearing how people are kind of organizing their lives with their notebooks. I just find it really interesting, so let me know below if you want to. And besides that, that is the end of the video, my friends. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everybody.